All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's regular scheduled, well, not regular, but work session scheduled for Wednesday, October 28th at noon here in New Carlisle and some other places. Let's see. Mr. Bridge will be our acting clerk, and we will ask you to call roll, sir, when you're ready, please.
Absolutely. Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
I'm here.
Councilman Rodwald.
You're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Lowry.
Here.
And Councilman Cobb.
Here.
We have all 7 present.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Sure.
And invocation today will be done by Councilwoman Nowakowski, if you would, please.
Father, we come to you today in doing the city's work. Be with us and guide us. Also look over our first responders. Look over Chief's brother. And all this we ask in your name. Amen.
All right. Thank you very much. And moving on to the pledge, Mr. Grimm has our flag as usual. Thank you, sir.
Dominic's at school, so I'll see if we can handle this.
All right. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the
Flag,
United
States of America,
to the
to
republic
the republic,
Which
which
is
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
for all. Thank you, Mr. Grimm. When we do that, I can't look at anybody's faces because it just breaks your concentration. It's like, because it's so out of sync, it's crazy.
I can't see anybody's faces.
So anyways, thank you, Mr. Grimm. And moving on to action on the minutes, none. Communications, none. City managers report, none. Comments from members of the public. Do we have anything there, Mr. City Manager?
We do not.
All right, thank you, sir.
You.
Let's see, committee reports, none. Resolutions, ordinances, none. Other business, we have the 2021 appropriations discussion. So I will hand it back to Mr. Bridge or Ms. Harris, whoever wants to take the lead.
Yep, I'm going to pass the hosting over to Ms. Harris so she can go ahead and share her screen. While Ms. Harris is getting set up, I just want to go ahead and remind council what we did last budget work session on Monday night and what we're going to be discussing on November 2nd. Ms. Harris, did that host get switched over to you?
Yes.
It sure did. So just a quick rehash. We're going to discuss, this is for the public on 11/2, which is our next regularly scheduled council meeting starting at 7 p.m. We're going to discuss adding $15,000 for a fireworks show. We're also going to discuss the $2,000 for the employee appreciation, some monetary amount for savings for the future city building. We're also going to discuss increasing non-residential pool fees. We're going to discuss removing $40,000 from the planning department community development line item to switch that to the pool liner. And then also we're going to discuss increasing cemetery road repairs. And what we're going to add to the CIP is decorative street lighting backups. And also we're going to pick back up about the Adams Tower removal that we missed on Monday. So we're going to be adding $40,000 to the removal of that. So that is just a rehash of what we went over on Monday. So I will hand it over to Ms. Harris and she can take over. We are now sharing her screen just like we did on Monday night.
Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Real quick, Ms. Harris, if you don't mind me just jumping in real quick before you start.
Sure.
I wanted to clarify something with Mr. Vice Mayor, just because I had a question about it myself. I just wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page. For the money that he had brought up, that I think a lot of us or some of us were interested in putting aside, if that is available for city building use, was that only for to build a new city building, or is that for kind of like an and/or type situation, Mr. Cook, as far as remodeling or rebuilding?
That would be a bone that we could discuss at a later point. My thought was for a new, but if we're talking about a remodel, that's a possibility, but I personally would rather see it go for the new.
Okay, yeah, and no problem. I just want to make sure we were all on the same page. So thank you very much. And back to you, Miss Harris. I'm sorry about that.
You are fine. Thank you, Mayor and Mr. Bridge, and everybody else that's joined us. We're going to start, and I'm going to go fairly quick unless you have questions. We're going to start with the fire and ambulance budget. So the first one up is the emergency ambulance capital.
You have a page on that, Colleen? I'm
Are
sorry.
you,
17,
17? Okay,
17.
thank you.
thank you, because mine's on the computer, so I wouldn't be
Gotcha.
maybe the same.
Yep, there it is.
Okay. Real estate taxes, where my mouse is, this is where we're going to start. Real estate taxes are income, homestead and rollbacks. So we have an estimated income for, and this is the emergency ambulance capital, $98,000. Under the expenditures for that, we have the auditors, treasurer's fees, and then we have capital outlay. Mr. Bridge, do you still want to do the descriptions?
Yes, absolutely. Let me get to that real quick. Are we ready for that? So we have 167,000 is the total. And what that breaks down to is 22,000 for a cot for Medic 52A, 30,000 for a load system for Medic 52A, 15,000 for a Lucas chest compression system, $40,000 for a new roof, 15,000 for maintenance and equipment upgrades, 35,000 for a first response command vehicle, and 10,000 for radio upgrades. That totals to 167. But I will go ahead and let council know I have a fire chief and I had a discussion last week, and he supplied me some information earlier this week. We are looking to get the cot for Medic 52A and also the load system for Medic 52A. So that's a total of 55,000. We're actually going to try to get that this year out of CARES Act funds. So in the end, it won't cost the city anything, but we do have other departments going and buying those type systems out of their CARES Act.
All right.
So it quite possibly could be reduced, but we're going to go try to get that again through CARES Act.
All right, council, any questions for Mr. Bridge?
No.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, so that puts the ambulance capital beginning estimated balance, again, what we talked about on Monday, the estimated ending balance from this year carries forward. We believe we'll start with $99,799. The revenue source came to $98,000. Expenditures are $170,000 for an ending balance of $27,799. And that will change if we do use CARES Act. That will lower this amount, and that'll be revised. Any questions on the emergency ambulance capital?
Nope.
Okay, we're going on to emergency ambulance operating. And the revenue source for the operating for the ambulance is, again, real estate taxes, homestead. We have the Elizabeth Township contract, and we have the ambulance operation services. Those total $703,999. That's our revenue. Expenditures are estimated in wages and the benefits at $659,958. Training and travel is $4,500. Contractual is $94,750. Materials and supplies at $30,000. No capital, 500 miscellaneous, for total expenditures of $789,708. The recap is we begin with an estimated $96,005 in the account. We have estimated revenue of $703,999. Expenditures are estimated at $789,708. Ending balance of $10,296. We have any questions or comments for the ambulance operating?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The contract, this may be for Chief Trustee, the contract with Elizabeth Township, all we provide is people, is that correct? They provide equipment?
Yes, sir. It's their equipment, their house, and the only thing that we supply is personnel to man the equipment.
Okay, thank you.
And that is here for the expenditures.
Yeah.
Any other questions on ambulance operating? Okay, so we'll go to fire capital equipment. Fire capital equipment's revenue is based again on our real estate taxes, homestead, total of $66,648. Under the expenditures, we have the auditor's fees. There is a capital outlay. This is basically a savings account to hold for a future fire truck. So if we put that in there to save for, that brings the expenditures up to $101,200. So our beginning balance for the fire capital fund is going to start at $47,224. Estimated revenue is $66,648. Expenditures is $101,200 for an ending balance of $12,672. That's holding this $100,000 in this amount.
I just had a quick question for Chief. Chief, I'm assuming a fire truck's probably in the neighborhood of $500,000.
Looking at in between 450 to 500,000.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on fire capital equipment? Okay, we'll go, I'm sorry.
I'm just talking to myself saying I don't see any.
Okay, fire operating. Our revenue sources are, again, our real estate taxes here, homestead and rollback. We have an estimated revenue of $249,931. Under the expenditures, we have the fire department's wages, their benefits, for a total of $83,219. Their operating expenditures are training travel, $7,000. Under the contractual would be $68,950. Materials and supplies at $22,000. Capital at $188,500.
We can go and break that down for them. So out of the 188,500, what that equates to is 30,000 for new structural fighting gear, 50,000 for power tools, 6,000 for radio upgrades, 25,000 for tools and miscellaneous equipment, 20,000 for fire station renovations and demolition, 10,000 for new computers and equipment, 7,500 for thermal imaging, and 40,000 for a new roof.
Mr. Bridge, if I may,
Sure.
is there any way we can also put in there a discussion of savings for future fire station? No?
That's up to your council, sir. It's not up to me. But we can go ahead and put it in there for discussion.
That's what I meant.
Any other questions on the fire operating?
Yes.
Go ahead, Dale.
The Elizabeth contract is under EMS operating, but there's no Elizabeth money coming in on fire operating. Do we not provide fire service? Do we just provide EMS service to them?
It's all under the same contract, and that's just where we receive it, under the EMS.
They work on the same thing as we do here, cross manning, one engine, one medic.
Okay. So it's basically all just lumped together.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the beginning fire operating balance is estimated to start at $351,693. Our revenue source would be $249,931 with an expense of $370,669. And that'll put an estimated ending balance in the fire operating at $230,955. And I'm going to put this back to Mr. Bridge and to the chief if there's any discussion. That is the 4 fund accounts we just reviewed.
Council, any questions, anything you want to dive into with those funds?
Yes, yes.
Okay, what you got, Mr. Grimm?
I see all of the ending balances dropping, some of them drastically. Is that cause for, it seems like that would be cause for concern.
Holly, can you scroll back up to the EMS, please? The beginning of EMS. The fire engine was bought a little earlier than I was comfortable with. I wanted to wait a year. At last year's budget discussions, our former finance director just kind of busted into the scene with you guys, with council, and decided she wanted to promote buying a new medic, which was not against my recommendation. I wanted that levy money to sit for a year to see how we would receipt it. But council decided to go with her idea. So we see that fund balance dropping a lot, but you also got to understand that we did just buy a new medic this year as well. So without buying that medic and holding it out, that fund balance for this year would be a lot higher. Now, when it comes to those things, and I see your concern, we'll have to see how the year closes out. As you can see in the years past, we got the 165 to 264. We are only projected at 99,799 at this point in time, but the year's not closed. So if our expenditures come in under budget like they usually are, we can see that be a little bit higher. And the same thing with funding year 2021. We are overestimating our expenditures and underestimating our revenues. So
Okay.
that 27 will likely come up too. And you know, we don't carry over a lot sometimes with our other funds. This one we kind of do sometimes. But again, these EMS funds and some of the fire funds are really hurting because of that early medic purchase.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Which, do you want the fire chief to be excused if we're done with capital fire and operating fire and ambulance?
Yeah, council, any other questions that maybe that we can get to the nitty gritty of any of these EMS or fire funds that we would need fire chiefs to stick around for? I'm not seeing everyone, but I'm not hearing anything either.
I don't have any.
Okay.
No.
Fire chief, you're more than welcome to log out and do what you do to make yourself comfortable. If you want to stay logged in, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But if you need to go, just go ahead and go, sir. Okay.
I'm good. Right now, I've got some more information. It's basically a holding pattern right now, so I'll just hang out.
Okay, awesome. So I think now's a good segue to go and go in back into the water. So Colleen, if you can go down to Fund 501, that'd be great. And then Howie, what we're going to do is we're going to just tell them some things that we have discussed this morning, and then some information regarding the tower. So one of the things that we do need to amend the CIP a little bit. I'm just going to have council approve the CIP with amendments instead of starting the whole process over again. And that's probably going to be the trend from here on out. If we're just going to amend the CIP multiple times, is just do something very basic and quick to change. So with that being said, on the water CIP, it's going to be Fund 501. And we get down there real quick. If you can go up to the capital line item, Colleen, that'd be great, Miss Harris. Thank you. So now it's at 186. 215, 163. Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. So it's at 215, 163. Then that's including the 28,875 transfer back to the general fund. We do need to go ahead and put $40,000 in there for the removal of Adams Tower. That's what we will be recommending to council to remove it for $40,000. And Mr. Kick, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we did some numbers. If council should want to keep that water tower, we don't have to get into the nitty gritty discussions on that today, but I think it is good food for thought. And so basically we'd have to go into debt to keep the water tower. And we calculated some rate increases that would have to go in front of council in order for the water fund, since it is an enterprise fund, it is responsible to self-support it itself. So Mr. Kitko, can you go ahead and give your scenario about keeping that tower online?
Yeah, I can, Mr. Bridge. Thank you. Just a quick note. We still have one item to complete, and that is our flow testing. So if flow testing comes back good, the recommendation is, as Mr. Bridge stated, if it doesn't, there could be two scenarios, whether council wants to keep it or we have to keep it type scenario. So for the first one is basically having an overcoat exterior, blasting the interior, bringing everything up to code. The estimate is 350,000 plus. That would equate to how we've worked the Scarfo Tower budget is 70,000 per year for 5 years under the asset management plan. That would be an approximate 90 cents per 1,000-gallon increase. So this year coming up in January, we'll be going to 1046. You would add another 90 cents on top of that, which would bring in an estimated 85,000 per year, which yes, it is more than 70, but we do need to make sure that we would cover the asset management cost and any incidentals that could come along with that. The next one would be the full sandblast, which is highly recommended to blast the interior, also blast the exterior, bring everything up to code, OSHA, AWWA, EPA. That one is 500,000 estimated plus. Now these numbers aren't off by 100 or 200,000. They're pretty close, but as we move along, they can adjust. With the asset management plan payback period is 5 years again. That would be $100,000 estimated per year. And it would take about $1.25 additional increase on the rates to bring in about 118,000 per year. And these would have to be in at least minimum of 5 years to pay that tower managed company back, because that's how SCARF is. Basically, they charge us. It's basically they're renting the tower for 5 years and doing all the work as needed without being paid up front. So those would be the two rates, the 90 cents or a $1.25 increase on top of the already increases that we have for the water department.
Council have any comments or questions on that one?
Mr. Kickout,
Yes, sir.
do we need that tower down there?
So far, we have met all the criteria. We're waiting on flow calculations, and we are getting a few flows. Sorry, let me back up. A few flow devices to be able to perform this. And we're working with the EPA to make sure we get this. If those flows come back, no, we will not need that. The size of our community and what we pump, 2 towers is an expensive deal. Most communities do not have 2 towers for our size.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm just concerned. I mean, sticking that kind of money into that is not feasible, I don't think. If we can operate off the one on Scarf Road.
Yes.
Anyone else? Mr. Kitco, I didn't know if I'd misunderstood how you were laying this out. So what was the 350,000 covered? Was that, because I thought you'd said sandblast inside and out and it was 350, but then I heard you say it again with 500 or something. I want to hear it one more time. I'm sorry.
Sure. Both instances, both plans have the interior being blasted. That is a requirement.
Okay.
The cheaper plan is just overcoating what you see there. Some companies are developing some new coatings they say that can work.
On the outside or inside or both?
On the outside only. So
okay.
Why it seems to be about $150,000 cheaper is if they overcoat, they do not have to contain that blast because of it's located, right in their buildings and residential properties. So they have to secure a total blast on the outside.
Okay.
So that's why that increases so much higher for that full blast on the outside.
Okay. Is there, you or Mr. Bridge, I don't know who I should ask, is there any way we could get these options printed out so we could kind of visually see them and keep them on hand?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know it was pretty helpful when we did the last hour. So just
yeah, I have it in email form. I think Mr. Bridge has.
Okay, cool. If you guys can print them out or send them out to our email, that'd be awesome.
And Mr. Kitco, you did say it was 40,000 to have it removed, the tower itself.
That's what we're estimating. This year's estimate from the company was 36,300. So we just kind of bumped it a little bit for inflation.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else for Mr. Kitco on the water tower?
Yeah, is there an option to just put it in not tear it down, but not use it?
Yes.
Under the current agreement with the property owner is once the city does not use it for the production of water treated water is required to be torn down.
Okay,
That
and
was the
that's-
original agreement.
That is the current agreement.
and that's with the church, correct?
Yes.
So the church, we'd have to amend that agreement. But even if
Right.
even if the church decided to, yeah, we'll let you guys keep it there, I don't think it's very fiscal responsible to add 90 cents cheapest to the gallons of the residents just to keep it online. That'll be, unfortunately for us administrators, this will be council's final decision. So you guys will have to decide what's going on best. But just looking at the raw numbers, it's not looking too promising. But we have to get through the flow testing first. That's going to be our first big hurdle to see what the results of those tests dictate. Then we'll have to look at the agreement, and then, if all those work in the favor of keeping it, then council will have to decide if they want to move forward with putting this additional village on people in order to keep it. So we still got some stages to go to before we get to that final thing. We just wanted to give council some numbers as to what it would take so you guys can start thinking about it.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we were to say the church agreed to let us keep it there, we would still have to spend the $350,000 to not use it.
You mean if the church would agree to allow us to keep it as a non-water
Right.
usage apparatus?
Yes.
We would, to leave it empty is not required or not recommended by engineers to leave something standing without some sort of maintenance on it. What that cost would be, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, can you fill it with water and shut the valve and leave it filled with water for weight? I mean, is that an option? I mean, because you see,
Or fill it with sand?
I don't know if these towers are in operation, but I mean, if you ever take a drive throughout the United States, you see those similar type towers that are in really worse condition than ours. And I would assume they're not in operation, but they're still standing.
There's a lot that need to come down again, like Tip City. They have one just like this. They're
Yeah.
demoing theirs currently. There's a lot more. If you go on YouTube, you're finding a lot more of these 30s and 40s type towers being removed because of their type of build. Our other tank on Scarf is one solid sheet of steel. There's not a whole lot of holes. Where you look at them, they got all these gussets, and there's just so many places for penetration for rust. I know in 1987, when Adams was repainted, complete blast and repainted, a year later, it was already showing rust. So I don't want to get into a long-term issue with this tank because of this problem.
But the overall inspection, for the most part, I mean, other than the paint starting to wear thin, their inspection didn't say that it was on the verge of toppling or anything because of corrosion.
No, it's not looking to topple. It just comes down to cost for labor to keep in service.
Right. No, I got you.
Yep.
Anything else, Ms. Eggleston?
Nope.
All right.
Would
Anyone
there-
else?
Ability of community historic funding drive? If a committee formed and went out after donations to keep it, if people wanted it, or
That'd be a lot of
investigated?
I believe it would be
Well, it
donations
would-
for perpetual care.
Right,
Yeah, that'd
build
be
a fund and,
that'd be a lot of money to pull up for the tower. I mean, it's a great idea if we had a couple millionaires in town that needed to throw some money away.
Yeah. Good questions. Great questions, guys. Okay, any other comments on the water tower figures or questions? Nope. I'm not seeing any. Let me check my phone. I get any text messages from anyone, did I?
Someone did actually send me a message the other day about the water tower, and they said they had an idea. And I said, what's that? They said to find somebody that makes model You know, like I would assume for like a large train, you know, those people that do the real big train
Oh,
models.
yeah.
And they said, get somebody to make you some custom water towers and sell them as a fundraiser.
It's actually, I like the idea as,
Right, it's neat. Have your own little New Carlisle water tower.
yeah. That's
Maybe
funny.
have a little spigot on the backside where you can refill your cup.
Awesome. Okay, council, does anyone have any questions over the budget that we went through Monday? And how this would work is we still need to do a temporary appropriations for 2021, so we'll have that. And then as Colleen closes out the year, all this will have to be approved by council via an ordinance measure. So that's our next appropriation. So if anything needs to get tweaked between now and then, we'll definitely discuss it before you guys actually vote on these appropriations at some point in time in 2021. I do not have anything else. If council has any questions, any administrative staff have any questions?
Can you pull your, well, yeah, does it, for Colleen and the budget screen, does anybody have any questions? Okay,
No.
doesn't look like it. You want to switch screens back?
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on, screen. You want to go ahead and make me host back? That'd be great so we can see everyone.
There we go.
Hello, everyone.
All right, anything else?
Remind
Mr.
me how to make you host real quick.
You scroll down to the bottom where it says participants, and then go over where it says city manager, and then go down to more, and then make host.
I'm sorry, I got it. Thank you. Again, I should have remembered. Here you go.
Oh, good. Thank you for doing such a great job, Colleen. We appreciate it, Ms. Harris.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
So, all right, so on to, let's see, other business. Anything else before we adjourn? Ms. Nowakowski, did you want to ask Mr. Kitco a question?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Eggleston. I knew somebody had something for Ally about the park.
Howard, I had someone ask me, you know, the stone foundation for the flagpole at Hensley Park. Is there any way to get that cleaned?
I'd have to take a look at it. My guess would be just a simple pressure wash. I haven't looked at it that close, but I'm thinking we could pressure wash it.
Okay.
Does
Yeah,
it just seem dirty, not missing grout, none of that, just like
Yeah,
maybe green and?
I haven't looked at it real close, but it's just really nasty looking.
Yeah, I'll get with the public works superintendent and we have a way to go. Well, if I can get water somewhere there, we have a tank, but yeah, I just think a simple pressure wash would help. I'll take a look.
Hey, there's
Okay.
a tower on Adams if you need water.
Yeah, get it quick while it's still there.
Right, so,
There's
Anyone
also
else?
a fire hydrant across the street.
right. So, all right, anyone else? Then I would assume we need a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Second.
First by Mr. Cobb and a second by Mr. Grimm.
And then we go through the vote of everyone, right? Okay.
Correct.
All right. Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yeah.
and Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Okay, 7-0. We are adjourned at 12:34.
All right,
Fix
thank you
the
very
picture
much.
behind.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See y'all Monday.
You.